Tuesday, June 9th, 2020, 5:30 p.m. Calling to order the Cotuit Fire District Board of Fire Commissioners meeting. Present, Commissioner Pisano.
Commissioner Conley.
Commissioner Zace.
Chief Root.
Very good, thank you. Recording isn't relevant. Public comment. Do we have any public comment? In the absence of any public comment, then the next item is review and approval of previous meeting minutes. As I think everybody has been informed, the meeting minutes are, for last month are not yet available. We do have the link to the Zoom meeting available, and we are working on getting transcription minutes for that, which we will act on next month. So in lieu of that, we move along to the fire chief's report. Chief, you're up.
Responses for last month, total of 57, 47 medical, 3 hazardous condition, and 14 service, good intent, or false alarm. The hazardous condition were I believe there were 2 power lines down and 1 battery, broken battery on the side of the road, which was leaking a little bit of acid. Administration, PPE, we've got a good supply. COVID update, still no new COVID cases in Cotuit, so we're going on, I think about 60 days or pretty close to it with nothing in Cotuit, which is a good thing.
Hey, Chief, how are the numbers on the Cape as a general statement? Is Barnstable calming down a little bit, Barnstable County?
I think overall the numbers are trending down. Barnstable County, the state, we're doing a good job on the Cape specifically.
Very good, thank you.
Yep. Antibody testing. We contacted a company that does a medical facility that does antibody testing, COVID antibody testing. They've done testing for Calm Fire and Sandwich Fire. We're working on setting up a mobile test date for next week. So we're working on getting the day where they will come to our Cotuit, either the fire station or Freedom Hall. I haven't quite determined that, and coming to determine the date, and we'll do antibody testing on site. It's covered by members' personal insurance. It's open to anybody. So members of the department, public, we'll open it up to some neighboring departments. So we're looking to get that. The more information we have about antibodies for our staff, the better decisions we can make going forward. So that's the motivation behind that.
Chief, does this require doctor's referral for anybody who's interested?
Negative. No doctor's referral, no symptoms. They said it's 100% covered by most, if not all, personal insurance with 0 copay. When I get the date, we'll have a sign-up sheet that will be circulated to anybody that wants to do it, and they'll have to sign up for, I believe, a specific time and provide their information ahead of time.
Okay.
New SOGs. The deputy's been working really hard. Having him there has helped us to try to start catching up on some administrative stuff. And one of the first things we're catching up on is SOGs, standard operating guidelines. We've got 4 that we've put out for comment period this month. They include positive pressure ventilation, car fires, wildland fires, and personal firearm possession. So those we're going through and kind of updating what we need for SOPs to match up with other departments and to keep us expectations clear to personnel. So we generally put them out for 2-week comment period, take comments. There's ones we sent out, I know there's a few typos that we need to correct, and we'll do that before they're issued. So I've
been in communication with the deputy chief about editing all 4 of them, and he already responded. He's at work at it. So I would assume we'll see final version by our next meeting.
You will, yep. Any questions on any of the content of any of the 4 SOGs?
The one question I have, Chief, is are these replacing previous SOGs, or are they establishing guidelines that they're hadn't been established in the past.
They're establishing guidelines that didn't exist in the past. So we need to make expectations clear on specific incidents and administrative matters, so staff know what's expected of them. And these are some holes that we had that weren't filled. We many other ones. We're going to go through all of them. We're going to rewrite old ones that need edits and add new ones that need to be added, so that we've got clear expectations.
Okay.
Hey, Rick, quick question.
Yeah.
Were the recommendations or suggestions or whatever you want to call it that you made, were they material, or was it minor changes to the SOGs?
Minor changes, just some text editing, and raised a question of clarification around the vehicle accidents, and made a recommendation around the firearms
Okay,
SOG.
very good. Thank you.
Yeah, and the deputy chief would be happy to post updated copies along the way that you can see and offer more comments back to during this 2-week comment period.
Great.
Chairman
Update.
Pisano, I know that Cindy Gardner wanted to make a public comment. Would it be possible to recognize her either now or at the end of the meeting?
I don't even see her on my screen. Who's speaking?
She's on the phone. I think that's her number at the bottom.
Is this Amy Cates?
It is.
In the future, would you please use the chat function rather than interrupt an ongoing meeting?
I'll find out where chat is, Chairman Pisano. I don't know if I know what that is.
It is included, and you can send chat questions.
Questions. Okay. All right, I'll figure, I'm sorry, Rick. I'll figure that out for the next meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I was just wondering if at some point you could recognize Cindy.
If she can wait till the end of the meeting, I want to see if we can get through everything here.
Okay, thanks.
And if she can find chat, she is welcome to post a chat query or comment. Chief, we were at budget update.
So Ms. Gardner's been on the call the whole time. She must have some technical difficulties. She's had no problem posting public comment in the past. I'm not sure what her technical difficulty is. It's not related to our systems.
Okay.
The chat function has been disabled. We had some complaints about it, and I'm sorry.
Oh.
I should have.
Yeah, so there's a raise. What you do is you click on participants and you raise your hand. So unfortunately, disabling chat does mean that there's a sort of an interruption because there's a raised hand. The only other thing I could think of is that's the only point I'd make.
Okay.
But we have a public comment period that starts at the beginning, and everybody's got an opportunity to do that.
No, Chief, I was just talking about, since you've disabled chat, there's actually not a way for someone to do what Rick was just asking them to do.
I see. I wasn't aware of that. So what is the alternative is, just so I understand this system? Could you explain
Well,
it again?
There is, I don't think it's appropriate, but there's someone raises their hand, asks a question. That's not the mechanics of this meeting. So.
Oh, I see. But it would be on a visual link that you would.
Yeah.
I see. Okay. So it's not an additional function in the program. No. Okay. Okay. I've completely lost where we were.
We were at budget update. So
yeah.
FY 2020 budget update. As of last week, we had sufficient funds, excluding a total unpredictable loss of staff for overtime. We've got sufficient funds to cover us for payroll for the rest of the year. It's going to be close, but we're going to make it with a margin of a safe margin. As we talked about last month, we've got significant surplus operating funds, so we're good on operating funds. Next is radio upgrades. So the state's been talking about an 800 radio upgrade. We've talked about it before. I've contacted them, given the possibility of new vehicles and radios and installation, to get an update. Their update is they're looking at getting new radios out there, replacements for all of our radios, portables, mobiles, everything, probably in the late summer to fall timeframe. So that'd be coming then. We'll hear more about that. And we're trying to, baby the systems we have and not put too much money into what we have between now and then, because everything we have will be out of date, unusable.
This will switch completely to digital, right?
So, yeah, it'll be a gradual switch over. The new equipment will be capable of analog and digital for a period of time. And then over the next year or two, as the state slowly transitions to 100% digital, anything that had only was analog, which is everything we have right now, will be useless. So you're right.
Okay. All right.
Updated PowerPoint. I included an updated FY21 budget PowerPoint in the materials for this meeting.
Right.
The anticipation was that we would use that for the civic and civic association candidates and budget night. After talking with President of the Civic Association, Jim Danhauser, he is looking to use the treasurer's spreadsheet, which accounts for all departments. So it's got a fire, water, and treasurer's department. And he believes that if we operate off that one Excel sheet, it'll be less confusing. So it's looking right now like we're not going to use that spreadsheet for anything. We can include it on the website as reference material for residents, but it's looking like it's not going to be needed for any presentations.
Okay. Can we get a copy of the treasurer's version in advance so that we are prepared?
Yes, I'll get a copy. It's essentially, it's exactly the same numbers as what is in the budget PowerPoint. It's in the same order. It should be identical. It's just a little bit.
Okay. Then I withdraw my request. I just wanted to make sure I was familiar with the formatting.
He takes our numbers and plugs them into just a different spreadsheet. So it doesn't have our emblem and it's not in PowerPoint, it's in Excel. So it should be fine. It should be identical. Same percentages, same format, same everything.
Okay.
But I will get you a copy anyways, just so you have it. So
yeah.
We've been working on giving out surplus N95 masks and hand sanitizer. We did that for about a week where we had set up appointments. We've gone to a 1 day a week, Fridays from 10 to 12, where we set up out front and give out N95 masks to seniors and members at risk, medical risk groups, and sanitizer refills. So we'll continue that until we run out of supplies, which shouldn't be anytime soon.
Okay.
Still got probably 1,000 masks in surplus and about 8 or 9 gallons of hand sanitizer to give out.
Hope that's enough.
I'm going to be using it for the foreseeable future, unfortunately. We're working on, we're going to start the COVID expense reimbursement through the state. So we'll be working on that this week. Hopefully we'll get some reimbursed funds. Hopefully I have a better report for you on that next month. And then COM dispatch. So Centerville Fire is our dispatch provider. They are changing their software, their CAD system, their computer-aided dispatch software. They are upgrading to a new system called Red NMX. They're also using this new system as a records management system for their fire and medical reports. They've been talking about it for a while. We've been discussing the possibility of also transitioning to that through the provider over the last couple of months. There's been some delay in getting prices and talking about integration and how that would work due to the COVID and hours they work. Today we got finally got a definitive price from the company of what it's going to cost if we want to switch over. Either way, whether we want to switch our records management system from the current firehouse to the new system, or if we want to keep our existing firehouse records management system and pay for a integration. So the comms new system provides a data stream to our records management system for our medical reports and for our fire reports. So this is kind of coming last minute. So it came in about 2 hours ago, and right now they're quoting a cost of integration if we keep our existing software and don't change of $5,900. And if we switch to the new software, which we've had some demonstrations, it's a better platform than Firehouse. Firehouse has been bought and sold a couple times. Their customer service is poor, to say the best. It's usable. It does the job, and we get the job done with it. But the new system is going to be just under $16,000. So as of right this second, we have a choice to either be cut off from the data from COM and have everything input manually and not have good record keeping and lose data down the road, or we pay $6,000 essentially for an integration, or almost $16,000 for a new system. So I'm working on trying to find some alternatives, but that's where we are right this second. Com's looking right now, they've changed it a couple of times. Right now they're talking about a first week of July cutover to the new system. So I wish I had some good answers.
Hey, Chief.
You guys, but right this second, it looks like there's going to be some expense, and there's the question as to how much and which direction we want to go.
Chief.
Yeah.
Is there is this integrated right down to the ambulance, the vehicles, the apparatus?
Yes.
It does. Okay. Because
Yeah.
we had, and the 16,000, what's the ongoing cost with that? Is there a monthly service? Is there, what's the deal with that?
Great question. So right now we pay a yearly maintenance cost with Firehouse of $3,000 a year. So it's just over $3,000 a year we pay right now with the current system. The new system would be $1,800 a year. So we would save $1,200 a year.
So spend 16,000 to save 1,800 a year.
Yes.
Well, we really have to think of it as spending 10,000 because we're pretty much locked into having to spend the first 6 for the integration to keep our linkage with their dispatch. So it's a question of the additional 10 on top to adopt the new software and have it completely compatible.
How widespread is the use of this in the rest of the village, the fire districts in Barnstable, Chief?
Good question. So Hyannis Fire moved to this new software provider about 2 years ago, I think, 1.5 years, 2 years ago. So they're on the new system. COM is looking to move to it. Barnstable and West Barnstable are still on the same system we're on, Firehouse. I'm 99% sure.
Mm-hmm.
So 2 of the 5 fire districts are on the new system, and 3 of us are on the old system right now.
Yeah. How about in other parts of the Cape, if you know?
I think, I don't know for sure. I think
Okay.
Firehouse was pretty generally used across the board amongst all departments up until recently. Firehouse, like I said, has been bought and sold a couple times. Their customer service is pretty poor.
Right.
We're required by.
It strikes me about 3 years ago or 2 years ago, we
Yep.
moved from something else to Firehouse for similar reasons.
Yep.
So, yeah. Okay.
We did. So 3 years ago, we were on Image Trend for fire reports,
Right.
and we had another software platform too. We were always Cotuit Fire was on Firehouse going back probably 10 or 15 years, and then the year before I got here, they did a partial move to this new software provider, and they kind of half implemented. So we're recording half the data we needed, and it was 3 years ago, it was more efficient to move back to what we had, convert the data, and be on the same system that we were always on. It works fine. I mean, Firehouse does the job. It gets the job done. Having the data feed from the dispatch is fairly important. So there, like I said, there's a cost for that. The company has been bought and sold at least once or twice in the last 3 years, and we've had some problems over the last year submitting to the state. So we submit all of our reports to the state on a bi-yearly basis, and it's complicated now. The system they have, it doesn't check for errors that the state doesn't accept. So we submit to the state, and they say you've got errors in, I don't know, a couple dozen calls, and you have to go back and fix them because their software can't detect errors like it's supposed to. So
If you had to guess at what the cost, if you quote unquote, is of having to deal with something like that, where it's, as you say, it does the job, but it seems like it comes at a cost to you in terms of efficiency and time spent, errors made, and so forth. Is there any way to put our arms around what that is?
Good question, but a really hard question. So the cost of dealing with the Firehouse that we have, and dealing with its quirks and customer service that's not as great, it's not $10,000. No. For dollars and cents point on looking at a snapshot of today,
maybe it doesn't have a conversion, but it's a time sink, or
it does. It does sink a little bit of time. It doesn't sink $10,000 worth of time. The reason maybe to spend the $10,000 is to go to a system that's better, that the other departments are using, that's more consistent. But I mean, it's still, we're split 50-50. So it's not consistency across the Cape. I don't know. It's kind of almost, it comes down to a kind of a coin flip. It really does. I wish I could tell you that I would push you one way or the other. If money wasn't an object, I would say we go with a system that works better and is consistent with COM and with Hyannis.
Hey, Chief.
But it's significant. Yes.
Chief, just a couple quick ones for you. Our contract with COM runs through when?
It's a fiscal contract, so it's July 1st to June 30th.
Do we anticipate any increases in costs from COM?
We don't. They've been static in cost since I've been there. So we're going on 3 years, and next year will be the 4th year where they have not increased at all. No cost of living, no nothing.
Okay. And then the only other thing is, I know it's a 16,000 quote. I'll use the term acquisition cost, but is that on premises, or is that a SaaS/cloud solution?
It's a cloud solution.
It is cloud, but the buy-in initially is 16,000.
Yes.
Okay, Chief. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Does Mashpee run this system?
I don't believe so. They were on Firehouse. I think they're still on Firehouse. I haven't discussed that.
The reason I asked is I was just wondering about the abutting districts that we tend to spend most time, mutual aid, whether there's, I can understand the benefit from the standpoint of dispatch and data and everything. I was just wondering if there was something else, another benefit because of Mashpee, but maybe
Not
it
that I
doesn't.
know of.
Maybe it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I didn't come fully prepared to brief you on this tonight, unfortunately.
No, that's okay.
I have more information for you.
I do think that we need to be prepared to spend at least the $6,000 cost for the integration to keep an uninterrupted stream of call records. And if they're going to try to make the switch over, if COM's going to try to make the switch over in July, then I think we probably need to authorize that expenditure now. The question becomes whether or not we do this whole package now. I assume that the the rest could be done later. But do you know if that's a dividable cost? If we did the $6,000 for the integration now, would that come off the top on the cost if later we decide to go to the whole new software package?
So $2,000 of it would. So 2,000 of the 5,900 is for integration of our patient care reporting system, which stays the same. That's image trend. That's not going to change. The $4,000 cost is to integrate to Firehouse. So that would be a lost cost if we decided to switch later on.
Chief, what's the effective date? Is it July? Is it July 1 transfer over?
ComFire's right now looking at the first week of July as a transfer date. Yes.
Not much of a runway did they provide us, did they?
No.
They've been talking about it for a while, and we've been talking to this company for a while, but honestly, it's been a really busy spring, and yeah, we didn't give you much of a runway. So what we can do now is I need to collect a little more information, I guess. I need to find out if there's any third option, if I can pay a third party provider to make a bridge that's cheaper, if, which departments are in which systems. And I don't have that information, so.
Gentlemen, would the two of you be willing to consider a second meeting this month if we can get this information together to make a decision about which pathway to take?
Yeah,
we have it out of current operating.
We're ill-equipped to collaborate with the chief on what's the best decision. I could see right now both sides of the equation, but there's probably a best choice that we could make. Mm-hmm. My inclination to say the best choice is to move to the new system, but let's really get into it. And I'm happy to carve out the time for another meeting.
Yeah,
Evan, would you be available?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's just make sure I'm straight on this. So in the event that we did try to do a connection, then we would be paying Firehouse still $3,000 annually, correct?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And we would pay the $5,900 up front to do the integration.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I'm more than happy to have that conversation. It almost seems like, my gut's telling me that we'll be throwing, good money after bad if we don't make some decisions on this. So.
All right, I will get a more definitive report and more information for you shortly, and
Okay.
probably to schedule another meeting. It'd be nice. We have surplus money this year. I would rather use this year's surplus to get this done, but it is what it is. We'll see if I can get it done the next week, and we'll schedule another meeting if that's okay.
Yeah, I just looked at my calendar, and I could be available in a week.
Okay.
If we can get this, and we will put it on as an issue to get a decision made.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, week from today works on my end as well.
Okay, good. Let's move along then.
Training. We're going to be working on boat training coming up over the next month. Not a lot of training going on. It's still doing online EMS training through Prodigy, but live training is still something that's people haven't quite figured out yet. The EMS Pro EMS report was attached. Personnel, we've got.
Hey guys, I apologize, and I may have some dates wrong in here, but in looking at my calendar, if we're talking a week from today, we're talking the 16th. Tuesday the 16th.
Right.
And may have it in here wrong, but I have.
Oh, that's election night.
Well, that's at 7:30.
Ah.
Okay, so just so we have awareness though, right? So.
Yeah, I mean, we could do this beforehand.
Yep.
Right, we could schedule the meeting earlier.
Yep, all good. Just want to make sure we are all on the same page.
Good, thank you for that. Sorry, Chief, go ahead.
No problem. Personnel, we have one out right now on a COVID-related issue. And we have another one that just went out effective last night on a back injury, on the job back injury. So
Was the COVID tested positive antibodies or just preventative?
No. So the one person that's out in COVID, at this point in time, we believe it was his family has COVID and he's got the same symptoms.
Oh, so a potential exposure.
It's an assumption that he's got COVID, and as a result, his doctor has him out on sick time. So it's not on IOD time; it's on sick time, but it's related to the COVID. So, which puts some questions on return time, which could make it, extended, depending on when he tests negative. The back injuries.
Could we ask that when we get this COVID antibody testing set up for next week, could we ask that that firefighter to be sure to get an antibody test then? Because proof of infection may influence reimbursement for expenses.
Yeah, no, we will ask everybody to get it.
Okay.
I'm not sure we can force anybody to get the antibody test, but I think everybody's pretty anxious to get that kind of information.
Yep.
We do have 2 applications on file for call firefighters, so we'll be working on some background check on them and looking at those over the next couple of weeks. One of them is an EMT from Centerville. The other one was one of our interns from this past year, high school intern, who's turning 18 this week, I believe.
Good for him.
Yeah. Apparatus boat 266 is at the dock in service. We will be paying the slip fee for $5,500 coming up in the next week or two for this season. And facilities. So voting at the fire station, we'll have that coming up.
Excuse me, before we get into facilities and voting, under personnel, I just want it noted that we have set a tentative date in September to move ahead with arbitration on an outstanding step 3 process grievance. So a date has been selected. Have both of you gotten that information?
No.
I don't believe I have.
Oh, sorry. It's September 23rd. So the attorneys for the district and for the union have agreed on an arbitrator. They've picked an arbitrator, and they've decided on the start date of September 23rd for arbitration.
And that's important for both of you to have on your calendars as well, because we may well all end up having to be called or participate. You may also hear from the lawyer in advance if there are depositions necessary about anything about our handling at the step 2 level.
And would that be in person, online? Where?
It would be end of summer, so late August into September, ahead of the arbitration date, and then the arbitration date itself. So I'm not going to make a call now about how the world will run by then. We have to assume.
Where'd you put your crystal ball?
I can't tell you. That's a state secret.
Okay, but so we're to put the 23rd of September on our calendar.
That is currently scheduled for the arbitration, and you may get a request for deposition ahead of that.
Okay, all right.
So there's not a time associated with that. You're just giving us a heads up that might happen sometime on the 23rd.
Correct. If depositions, individual depositions are necessary, they'll happen late August into September.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much.
Chief, on the IOD, you mentioned that someone was out on IOD, the COVID one, and then the IOD. Was that a recent injury? How did it happen?
Yeah, it was last Thursday. They had a patient they were picking up that was immobile, and they picked the patient up, and it was a lift and turn type of injury.
Yep.
Preliminary ER doc seems to think it's got the possibility of a disc injury. So there's going to be some follow-up MRIs and medical appointments, and best case we get them back in 2 weeks, but it could be something that's bigger than that.
Okay.
Okay, we're on to facilities.
Facilities, voting. The voting is going to be done at the fire station. I'm working with Prudential Committee on a layout and how we're going to do that, and how we make it safe, and how we decontaminate tables or voting booths. So we're working on that, but it'll be on the front ramp. And what else? Facilities. 56 High Street. We used the garage at 56 High Street for storage. The garage is literally falling apart. The garage doors are literally falling off. We've got extra surplus facilities funds left for the year, and we are working on getting a price to replace the garage doors so we can keep our equipment and the district's equipment secure and weather tight. We got an estimate of about $700 or $800 a door, so we're looking at less than $2,500 expense to secure the facility, to keep our equipment safe. So we should have a number back by tomorrow on that. At 56, the guys went out and mowed the lawn over there today. We bought a lawnmower so we can start maintaining the property at a more appropriate level. We took down one dead tree, and we're going to be working with the Prudential to clean up some of the other trees and make it look a little more presentable.
Chief,
All done with on-duty staff. No, it's not overtime. There is the only cost to the district, to the fire budget, will be the cost of the garage doors and the lawnmower costs, which was nothing. So,
Chief,
yes.
what's the status of that building itself? Is it sound? Is it falling apart? Does it have to be replaced in 2 years?
It's not falling down. I think the district had some studies done on it, and they said it wasn't financially viable to bring it back to life. So the district's still discussing what the future outcome or what the future use of the actual house will be. The garage itself is structurally sound. The garage, the doors are falling off, and it just got some roofing shingles that blew off recently. So, for less than $2,500, we can put some new garage doors on, and we can stick some new roofing shingles up there to use it for storage going forward.
Is there any, help me understand, is this property is owned by the district, but it's not the station, right? I mean, it's
Correct.
Adjacent to it. Is there any issue that we're going to have in spending money on that? It's not the fire station.
No, we use it though. We use it for storage. We use our footprint for our facility is fairly small. We don't have any outdoor yard space. So the guys use it for cooking out, for maintaining, meals. And we use the garage for storage for equipment. So it's district money maintaining district property. There's no legal implications or problems with that.
Hey, Chief, just one quick question, follow up from my earlier on the status of that building. Is the property itself, the larger building there, that one is still weather tight, correct?
I believe so, yeah. We've actually been using that for fire training as well. So we've had several fire training programs and classes in the other building, which has been pretty valuable to us as well.
Nope, absolutely. So my only question there is it not or is it possible to take what is in the garage and put it into that building?
No. We've got some surplus motors, which would require heavy equipment to get it in. And there's no, I can't think of how we would get it into the building.
Yeah, so obviously I don't know what's in there. So that's a valid, that's a valid statement.
Right.
I got it.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Under other, I had support for the annual district meeting. So the annual district meetings being held at Lowell Park. Our staff will be helping moving chairs, fogging and disinfecting facilities and equipment prior to and afterwards. So we'll be supporting that effort as as best we can. But that's all I got for the report.
Okay. Thank you, Chief.
Yeah, thanks, Chief.
Thanks, Chief.
We have under new business, we are still looking at getting busy drawing up a contract for the deputy chief contingent on the salary being approved in the new budget. Chief, I would like to know if you can provide me with or provide all three of us with a boilerplate template that we can start work with toward that contract.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll get you a boilerplate contract or a proposed contract and something for you to start with.
Okay, good. And we've covered district voting at the station. We're also going to be having the drop-off absentee ballot at the station. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah. The district has asked us to do absentee ballots. We're doing it curbside, so all of our services on site now are curbside. So curbside ballot, absentee ballot, curbside blood pressures, curbside permits. We've got instructions up. They park in the parking lot, call us, and we come to them. So safer for everybody. Pete Emerson, firefighter Pete Emerson, helped us out with the district website. He put all the instructions, posted the absentee ballots, and has done a great job maintaining the website and actually is posting all these meetings for us. So he posts agendas, videos, and maintains the website. So he's been a huge help when it comes to that.
Terrific. Under old business, pandemic operations, I think we've pretty much already covered. And the article for the special district meeting, have both of you had a chance to look at those two items?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any
Yes.
questions or comments about it?
No.
Want to express our appreciation to the Prudential Committee for getting that special district meeting set up to immediately follow the regular meeting. It will allow us to get this business before the voters in a timely fashion and at minimum additional expense. I don't have
Question, Rick?
anything. Go ahead.
Should you take a formal vote to endorse the request of Prudential to have the special district meeting?
So moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
No.
Vote Pisano in favor.
Conley in favor?
Zace in favor?
Okay. We are on the record on that. I'm going to do something I don't normally do before we adjourn the meeting, and in light of the earlier request, I'm going to invite Cindy to make whatever comment she wanted to make in public comment that was not available. I was not aware that the chat function wouldn't be an available option. So if Ms. Gardner is still in the meeting, I think that's her number there. If you want to make your comment, go ahead now. Cindy Gardner.
She might be muted.
It doesn't, it just shows a cell phone number. It doesn't show any muting. Chief, do you have any muting function at your control?
No, she's not muted.
Okay, well, then we will skip that. And is that her? No, now she's muted. Now she's not.
Hello.
Yeah.
Nope. She's no longer on the call.
All right.
Okay.
All right, then I will accept a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I move to adjourn the meeting of June 9th. of the Cotuit Fire District Board of Fire Commissioners.
Second the motion. In favor, Pisano.
Conley,
Zace.
Meeting's adjourned. Thank you very much, everybody.
thanks,
Okay,
everyone.
thanks.
Good night.